All right, so it is currently 11:50 p.m. and it is October 1st, In these videos I always mention the date, and I'm like always talking about what's it called? I'm always talking about like the upcoming months. We're in October, so October officially starting is pretty exciting cuz I don't know. Fall has also started. I mean, we're already like over a week or two into fall, and I don't know. Now I'm just excited for winter to come. I know we're just starting fall, and it's a really nice season. A lot of people get really cozy and happy in this season, which I think is pretty cool. There's something really sweet about life. It can be very horrifying, and it can be really scary sometimes, and it can be very we get filled with anxiety and things like that. But I mean, to be honest, there are beautiful aspects to life, and as much as I'd like to have that be a thing that's always happening, where life is always beautiful and always wonderful and always like, yeah, I'm having a great time, that's just not how it works. But we can try to maintain those things to the best of our ability, and I think that it is possible. Anything is possible. But anyways, I want to come out here and talk because I think that there's just been a few different things that I've seen online that have kind of sparked my brain to think about, and I just feel like talking about them, right? So just to start off, one of the things that I saw was talking about emotional intelligence. And I find emotional intelligence to be hold up, I want to fix this real quick. Also, my head is a little itchy. I find emotional intelligence to be kind of an interesting topic to talk about, or to discuss, or to listen about, because it's always interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes plug in questions into ChatGPT to give me an explanation of what a term means or anything like that, because I don't know, I'm just curious as to what it'll say. And then it also just kind of is a way for me to bounce ideas back and forth with AI in a way that, like, I don't know, like if it's not something, like if none of my friends or anybody is available for me to speak to, for me to ask these kinds of questions, I kind of just turn to ChatGPT and I'm like, all right, well, let me talk to you about, like, tell me what emotional intelligence is or whatever, right? And based off its answers, I can sort of see how that has shown up in my life, or how at least I think it shows up in my life. And emotional intelligence is interesting because I've talked about some things in these videos that I think sort of align with emotional intelligence. Really, it kind of boils down to, at least from my interpretation, understanding how you feel, being in alignment with how you feel, and also understanding others people's feelings and what they could be possibly going through, their situation, not just what they're going through now, but maybe something that they've gone through that has impacted, understanding their story. I don't know if that's necessarily emotional intelligence. I think maybe what you do with that information and how you decide to move and all those things, maybe that is the emotional intelligence. But I was watching a video and it was saying something about how emotional intelligence is the new sexy. I swear, I don't know what it is. I love people, okay? Don't get me wrong, I love people. But sometimes I hear different things. Like, for some reason, the sentence emotional intelligence is the new sexy. I don't know why, but that just kind of pisses me off. I don't know. I wouldn't say it pisses me off, but it kind of gives me, like, it makes me cringe. It makes me like, I'm like, yo, why can't we just have a regular conversation and not say like buzzwords, like things? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm the one that's bugging. But nonetheless, I do think that in some of the things that I feel like I can cringe out about, there are truths in it, and I think that speaking to things nowadays, it's interesting because I was listening to these videos, and some people, I forget who, I don't know any of these people's like names or like what their social medias are, so I can't credit them. I can't like reference the video that I saw. I'm just sort of just talking about what they were saying, and they talk about like the times that we live in now, which I can't speak to from my perspective, just because, like, well, I'm only in my 20s, and not only that, I don't know history that much, especially like history of how dynamics used to play out back then. I know a little bit, like the bare minimum probably of what, like, how things were back then between people, but I'm giving you the perspective of somebody that is like, I don't know, I really am just talking about like I thought I heard something outside. I'm really just talking about my own experiences and how my ideas have sort of evolved over time and where I'm at now. And I'm more than open to be able to progress and develop my understanding of how things are, you know? But anyways, you know, they talk about how back then, I wouldn't say back then, they're talking about how things are now with men and women, or just dynamics of, you know, probably men and women is the video that I was actually talking about, like watching and what they were talking about. Men sort of needing more emotional intelligence and a woman looking for a man that has more emotional intelligence. And honestly, I think that emotional intelligence is an easy thing for the most part. Like, I think that if you're not the type to crash out, and this is where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Again, I've referenced this Andrew Garfield video before, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's a Leo thing where we kind of put everybody up on a pedestal. Not to say that I put everyone on the pedestal, but maybe I take for granted just there's a car that just parked randomly in the middle of the road. Like, it is pretty late, so he could do that, but I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, not to say that we put people on a pedestal, but I definitely maybe take for granted just how emotionally intelligent people are. I don't know though, you know, I don't know that from experience. And I guess it's to say, like, what I'm trying to say is I think being emotionally intelligent isn't that hard of a thing to do, at least from my perspective, because I just think it would require you to not crash out over like something little or something subtle, or, you know, I think that a lot of things, like in terms of how we deal with other people, if we have a good way to deal with ourselves, naturally, I think that you would just deal with everybody else in a similar fashion. Like, if you have grace, or not grace, but if you have patience with yourself and your understanding of yourself, and you're also giving yourself patience, then realistically, I just think that what comes from that is you'll have the same thing for other people, right? So, for instance, you know, I think like it's very easy to kind of look at other people that we know personally, and especially for people that we like, I don't know, like want to see something grow with, or maybe even a close friend or a group of friends, you know, like if you have patience for yourself, then some things that other people do or say, it wouldn't really get into your head and be a problem, is what I'm trying to say. And of course, it's completely okay, because what I'm saying is I'm not trying to say that like I have no problems with people at all, and I have the best patience with people at all. I'm not saying that at all, because 1000% I can still catch myself, and I have been catching myself more and more in a space where I'm like, oh man, that person really isn't doing me wrong. It's just like I'm taking their actions or their words, and my mind is sort of conjuring up a problem that really isn't a problem. And if it is, then it'll really reveal itself at one point that it is a problem. But for the most part, let me not let my mind fool me and play tricks on me, making me believe that something is really a problem when nothing is a problem at all. Like, at the end of the day, you know, sometimes if you go out and talk to someone, maybe you can recognize or realize that there wasn't a problem to begin with at all. And if there is a problem, then it'll show itself, you know? But at least for me, I've noticed, like, yeah, if I communicate with this person, there isn't a problem that arises at all, other than the problems I have going on in my own brain. So I think emotional intelligence, maybe, I don't know if this is emotional intelligence, because I feel like the emotional part of emotional intelligence has to do with how you feel, but also catching yourself in moments, or catching your mind, catching your brain, catching your thoughts in ways that you're like, oh, you know, my thoughts are really convincing me that there is a problem, when in reality, there isn't a problem at all. And I feel like when you can catch those things, you can sort of, if you bring awareness and attention to that, you'll at least be able to move differently, or move according to the flow of how things really are, and not just the flow of what your mind or your thoughts are trying to feed you, you know? And I think it's totally fine to get caught up sometimes by that, because we're not by any means perfect. We're not, I mean, perfection, like I said, has never been the goal for me. Perfection is not something I'm trying to achieve or whatever, you know? Progressing, though, is the genuine goal of what I'm trying to, oh, the light went out. I didn't charge it, so I knew that was going to happen at some point, so we're just going to stick with the car lights. But anyways, I also don't mind the darkness, to to be honest with you, I have noticed that in my videos, some nights that I would record in the forest over there, the nature preserve, the background would be completely dark. And I kind of like that about the videos that I would record, because it just looked like I'd be recording in the middle of nowhere. And now I'm just recording in my own driveway. So it's like, I may eventually make my way back to the nature preserve, but I think for now I'll just continue recording these in the driveway. Anyways, yeah, I think that if you have, I don't know if emotional intelligence aligns with like what I just talked about in terms of catching your own brain or catching your own mind or thoughts on things that it's trying to feed you that are not the truth, anywhere near the truth. And if it is, like, so what? Like, what can we do about it right now? Like we're not conversing with the people, we're not conversing with that person at this very moment. You know, when the time comes where we're communicating, if there really is a problem, we can talk about it. If there isn't a problem, then it's not going to show up as a problem at all, and we can just carry on and have good times, or talk a little bit deeper, or discover more about each other and things like that, you know. So this is a good headspace to be in. It's a good headspace to be in, to be honest, because the more and more that you can catch yourself stumbling over like thoughts that are just thoughts, nothing really grounded in truth or reality, when you can at least bring more awareness and attention to how things may be going for that other person, without letting your thoughts kind of feed you, like, I don't know, something like, oh my god, my bad, my nose is a little itchy. Without letting your thoughts feed you things that, like, for instance, right, this dynamic that I have playing out right now with this woman, it can be easy for my thoughts to like feed me like ideas or something that's just like, I have no clue whether that's the truth or not, you know? Like, I don't know if that's the truth or not. I have nothing that I can ground other than maybe like a sprinkle of something that I saw that I'm just like, oh, you know, like, and that little sprinkle, like, my thoughts is just like, it's just gonna run with that. It's just gonna run with that and make different ideas, jump to different conclusions. And it's like, that's not necessary. Let me not really feed into what my thoughts are saying. Like, I don't care to want to think about that anymore, because it just, like, what purpose would that really serve me? That doesn't benefit me at all. If anything, it's literally like setting up this dynamic, not for failure, and it's not setting it up for failure, but if I were to feed more and more into that and fall for those traps, then it's just like, am I ever gonna break out of the cycle of really just kind of like, I don't know, like starting something new with someone and then seeing how that goes, and then my mind just fucks it up or something like that, or I fuck it up because my thoughts are feeding me these things and I'm allowing that to like really I guess manifest into like how I converse with that person or something like that. It's just like, no, I don't want to go through that cycle. I don't think anyone, hold up, I just want to check how long I've been yapping for. I don't think anyone wants to really go through that cycle any longer than they need to, you know, at all. Like, it just, what purpose would that serve me? I'm trying to move on to better things. I want to actually see what more I can find out there, you know, in terms of like experiences. And I think that I like reading the astrology stuff because I've mentioned it before. I have a Leo sun, Gemini moon, and a Capricorn rising. And I have the CoStar app. I don't have any other astrology app other than CoStar. And I read what it tells me. And, you know, it says that I'm like, I'm going to summarize it. It basically says that I'm like an experienced based person, right? And I guess how I can translate what that means from my interpretation, it's like, I really do, I'm like the type of person that is just like, I would much rather just live the experience, and then that experience alone will just tell me the truth of at least what I can gather from the truth, you know? And I think that in terms of how you interact with other people, not only just how I am interacting with other people, but how we interact together, that will tell me more, way more than my thoughts can about something small. Like seeing, I gave the example in one video that I haven't uploaded yet, but I saw her in a picture with this woman that I'm having this dynamic play out with. I saw her in a picture with some other dude, and when I saw that, I was like, man, who the fuck is that, you know? But genuinely, it's like, my thoughts are feeding me things that are just not making any sense, that I can't draw conclusions from my thoughts. Like, I can't do that. Like, that's just not how it works. Because if I do that, I'm literally I'm literally setting myself up for a failure. Like, and when I've had those experiences, right? And I'm saying this from a place of like, you can take this as advice if you like. But when I've had those experiences, I have to sort of have humility, because it's just like, what do I really know other than what I'm seeing? And is that really giving me any answers? Do I know anything other than what I'm seeing? So why let my mind or my thoughts, but whatever, like, why let that dictate how I'm going to move or feel? Let me just sit with this. Let me just meditate on this or something like that. Let me just inhale, exhale, chill out, and go. When I've regathered myself, let me go do something, like go on a walk, read a book, journal, record a video, like genuine, like let me redirect that energy. Let me cool off and then redirect energy towards an actual like a habit or hobby, or something, an act, an activity that will feed me, like will feed into me, and make me feel fulfilled. It'll make me feel like I'm actually doing something that's worth my time, like something that's going to actually benefit me. And like these are the things that we like I'm telling you straight up from experiences. Like, you don't want to let your thoughts, like, we are not our thoughts. Like, if you think that you are your thoughts, like, does that mean that your thoughts are the truth? Because if that's the truth and that's what is being manifested, it's like, whoa, I'm giving my thoughts way too much credit. I have no clue where my fucking thoughts come from. Why would I give it that much credit? Why would I put my thoughts on a pedestal like that? I don't want to do that. I want to see an actual beautiful experience around me. And how do I do that? Well, let me just cool off. Let me breathe in, breathe out. Go do activities that make me feel genuinely fulfilled. And when it comes time where, like, the universe aligns, where I'm chilling with that woman, then, like, it's just going to play out however it plays out, and the outcome at that point is just like, well, this whole time I've been doing things for me. If it doesn't play out, then we aren't aligned. And can that bum me out? Yeah, of course it's going to bum me out a little bit, probably a lot of it. But, at the same time, it's like, well, if it's not working out, the outcome, even if it's bumming me out, I'd rather that than pretending and pushing for something that I'm the only one pushing for, or if we're both pushing for this and at the end we don't even end up really liking each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, that right there, you don't want to run into that. So if something's not working out, it's better to have it not work out rather than going into something like that. But if it is working out, because I want to bring as much energy as I'm talking about into something not working out, I want to bring that and amplify it for things that are working out, because that's genuinely, who wouldn't want to see that? We all want to see something genuinely work out in our lives. Oh my God, in our lives. There we go. We all want to see something work out for each of us, for ourselves, for the people that we love and care about. We want to see those things be manifested, because like, genuinely, like, that's, everybody's winning. Perfect. Like, as much as I want to see myself winning, I want to see my close friends winning too. As much as I see myself winning, I would want to see my girlfriend, my wife, my kids, my family. Like, as much as I want to see myself winning, the people that I genuinely love and care about, I want to see them winning too. And how can I do that? To the best of my ability, let me hold myself down. Let me do things for me in terms of, like, what I talked about earlier in these videos, and I can show up better for other people. At least when we're interacting and things like that. They got their own universe going on, so they're going to have to, like, do this. Excuse me. They're going to have to do the same thing for themselves. But how can I show up like that for other people? The things, exactly what I've said before, how that shows up for you in terms of how you hold yourself down, how you ground yourself. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Whatever that means to you, whatever the truest parts of you coming out, that's how you do it, So I don't know what more I can yap about. I'm already about like 20 minutes in. The light died, so I'm sorry if it got really dark in here. But this felt good to come out and talk about, because, listen, I've stated this before too. Experiencing life will draw these conclusions, or not conclusions, but it'll draw this kind of energy out. So it's okay to be where you are right now. It's completely okay to be where you are right now. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. You have to have a sort of mindset that regardless of what's happening now, you have the faith, you have trust that the universe and you have the power to further develop, to progress, to be happier, to be more loving, anything that you want to manifest that's good for you and for the people around you, it's very possible. Very possible. And, there's still more work to be done. There's still more work to be done. I don't ever want to sound like I'm ready to hang the jersey up in the rafters or whatever, like retire and be like, I'm done. As long as I'm still moving, as long as I can still speak, as long as I can still communicate, there's still more work to be done. It's not until this body drops that the job is done. So that's it. Now go enjoy your life. And I really, really do mean that. That's it.